Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. A little update from Ukrainian front coming from the Ukrainians and the Russians. The Ukrainians gave us the morning update. The Russians did not update their today's front information, but I will use at least a map from yesterday. So let's get going with Ukrainians. This article comes from Ukrinform, and it is from today, March 16th, 2023. War update. Ukraine downs Russian Sukhoi 25, 13 drones in one day. Good, good. Ukraine's air forces carried out 16 strikes on Russia's manpower and equipment clusters on Wednesday. Also, an enemy Sukhoi 25 fighter jet and 13 unmanned aerial vehicles of various types were destroyed. Now, this is according to the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine. And I'm quoting, the enemy is focusing its main efforts on the Liman, Bakhmut, Avdiivka, Marinka, and Shakhtarsk axis. These are in this area right here. This is obviously the east side of Ukraine. This is where they're talking about the areas. Now the black bullets are where the Ukrainian forces clash with the Russian forces. I'm talking about units, not bombardments, shelling, airplanes, drones. All right, so the enemy is focusing his main efforts on the 5 axis 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Over the past day, the enemy has carried out more than 75 assaults in the said areas. So here, Baram assaults. Facing fierce resistance on the part of Ukraine's defense forces, the Russian Federation continues to apply terror tactics against the civilian population. Okay, we know over that already. We know that one. Over the past day, the enemy has launched 3 missile strikes. In particular, we know that in Kharkiv. The enemy has also carried out 29 airstrikes and 79 strikes involving MLRS systems, the statement reads. So a lot of shelling. The likelihood of further enemy strikes remains high across Ukraine, the General Staff warns. There are 20 vessels in the Black Sea, and there's never been this much, such a big cluster of Russian vessels in the Black Sea, and I don't know what's going to happen over there. They're looking for that drone that they downed with the Sukhoi 27, and possibly, I don't know, doing some maneuvers, possibly a new missile attack on Ukraine. It's kind of like too early if you look at it. The Russians don't do back-to-back, but sometimes they do. They did like 4 times already since, October 8th, 2022. On Volyn, Polisia, Sivershchenia, and Slobozhchnia axis, the operational situation has undergone no significant changes or no signs of any offensive groups being formed have been spotted. Russian occupiers' forces continue their training routines and routine in Belarus. The enemy maintains its presence in the borders areas. Yeah, they maintain their presence in the north right here, so they keep the Ukrainians busy, so they can't transfer troops here. That's why we keep 10,000 people here, and you keep here, I don't know, 150,000. Therefore, you can't fight here. We're not going to do anything here, but you're going to stay here, tied over there. The enemy maintains its presence in the border areas. Throughout the day, the enemy has shelled the areas of this in Chernihiv, and I'm going to show you where that is, Sumy region and Kharkiv region. So the Russians shelled these areas right here, according to the Ukrainians. Chernihiv, Sumy, Kharkiv. If you look over the map, the Russians do not say anything about shelling, but only these areas here. Okay. Now let's go back to the Ukrainians. On the Kupiansk-Liman axis, that is lower than that is in this area right here. The enemy ran unsuccessful offensive operations in the areas of Spirne, Bilohorivka, and Hryanikiivka. Their artillery shelled the districts of the Kharkiv region and Donetsk region and Luhansk region. So they shelled this area. This is Kharkiv, the Russians call it Kharkov. Then you have here, this is the Luhansk, and this is the Donetsk. The next one is going to be Zaporozhye. So in the whole thing, they shelled this, as they say. Shelling here would be the red dots, and if we go over that, remember this is from yesterday, let's see what they did here. They said that they hit units during artillery right here. Again, artillery and airstrikes. Here the Russians probably downed some drones. Yeah, a drone downed, another drone, Ukrainian drone down, and this is where the main war is occurring actually, in this area. So let's see, and this, it's also up north here. The Ukrainians evacuated Kupiansk, and here this is a new advancement here, and I know the Liman is right here where they say at the front. Let's see what's happening here. Forces of the Center Group struck Ukrainian Air Forces troops and military equipment in the course of active combat operations supported by assault and army aviation, artillery, and heavy flamethrower systems. So they're advancing here. Let's see in this Terny. Four fronts of the same thing over there, what they said for Liman area. And in this one, the same thing. So basically all these things is they try to attack under the aviation and flamethrowers cover. Now what's Artemovsk? Artemovsk is Bakhmut, which is going to be, the Russian name of Bakhmut is Artemovsk. Let's see what the Ukrainians are saying. On the Bakhmut axis, the enemy does not stop trying to storm the city. Ukraine's defenders repelled numerous enemy attacks in the areas of Orihovo-Vasilivka and Bohdanivka. Settlements near the contact line were hit by enemy shelling, including Paparaparap and soon in Donetsk area. So let's see what the Russians are saying about it. Let's go here to Artemovsk. Fighting is taking place in the city. Private military company Wagner founder Evgeny Prigozhin said that the assault groups have taken control of one of the premises of the Azov metalworking plant in Artemovsk, Bakhmut. The fighters are in the immediate vicinity of the plant's administration. So there's risks in a circumvent right here. Of course, these are Ukrainian bombardments of Russian positions or cities. And here's another drone that's probably downed. Yeah, Russian air defense shot down a Ukrainian drone. All right, so let's move back here to lower to Avdiivka, Marinka, Vuhledar, or Ugledar, as the Russians call it. On the Avdiivka, Marinka, and Shakhtarsk axis, the enemy went for unsuccessful offensive attempts in the areas of Marinka, obviously Vuhledar, and Avdiivka. Let's see what the Russians are saying. Let's start with Avdiivka. Fighting is taking place on the city's outskirts. Marinka, fighting is taking place in the western part of the city. This happened like in the past 5 days, the same thing here. Vuhledar, fighting is taking place on the city outskirts. Forces of the Vostok group struck Ukraine armed forces units using operational and tactical aviation and artillery. All right, let's see in Zaporozhye. They say in Zaporozhye and Kherson axis. These are the southern axis, which are, this is Zaporozhye, this is Kherson. A lot of Ukrainian shelling here, and the red ones are the Russians. Was something in Melitopol. What happened in Melitopol? Vladimir Rogo, member of the main council of the regional administration, reported that a car exploded near the market. Ivan Tkach, an entrepreneur, had a municipal enterprise, was killed and 2 more people were wounded. The power of the explosive device was 2 kilograms in trotyl equivalent. Oh, well, that's a assassination? No, it's not, because they did it. So in the Zaporozhye-Kherson axis, the enemy is on the defensive. Areas of the settlements along the contact lines were shelled. Correct. Even the Russians are reporting that right here. Over the past day, Ukrainian aviation delivered 16 strikes on the occupiers' manpower and equipment clusters. Our soldiers, Ukrainian soldiers, shot down an enemy Sukhoi 25 aircraft and 13 unmanned aerial vehicles of various types. Missiles and artillery forces in turn hit a control post, 3 clusters, as well as 2 radar stations, an electronic warfare station, and an anti-aircraft missile complex in its firing position, the General Staff concluded. So, this is the The main war occurs in the east of Ukraine, where is Liman, Avdiivka, Novopavlivka, Vuhledar, Bakhmut. Those are the areas where the clashes between the forces occur man to man. The rest is artillery, aviation, and that's about it. No advances on either side. This is a general update of the front, not detailed. Too detailed, you can, I mean, there are some other areas where you can go in detail, but I personally am not interested in Gigi shot Ivan and Michael kissed Tom. I don't care about those things. I mean, I want the big picture of these events, because Ivan kissing whatever Tom or Gigi Mikey, that's part of the whole thing. And if you go by each example, you would have an update for a day. 24 hours, it would be a complete update by all kind of incidents that occur on the front. Destructions, yeah, death, losses, people who are evacuated, and the Ukrainian nation and the Russian nation are at war with one another for some, I would say, bigger interests than the ones that we are told. It's unfortunate, but hey, you always will have traitors inside of your nation, because that's the way we are. How do you call it? Diverse. Yeah, we are diverse. Therefore, we have different interests sometimes, and even though we operate based on two basic laws, pleasure and displeasure. I want, I don't want. That's what it is. Sometimes you're like, I don't care, but mainly you and I operate, I want to do that because I like it, I need it, it's my interest. No, I don't want it, it hurts, it's going to be painful, I don't need it, so I don't get involved. Or, I don't care. But when you're put in front of a situation, you're not going to say, I'm on a Buddhist, I don't care. No, you're going to want something or you don't want something. So this is it, my friends. It's been like this for some time. Now, no major breakthroughs, but it seems like the Russians, it seems to me, doesn't mean that's what I see. The Russians, looking over the map, they're advancing in certain areas in the north, including probably encircling Bakhmut pretty soon, the entire Bakhmut. Right now, I think the Ukrainians still have exit doors from Bakhmut. I think they will be encircled. That's my, assessment of that. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.